The Zelvarn Intergalactic War College is not just a school, it's a crucible where the galaxy's elite military minds are forged. For centuries, only the most advanced species have been allowed to attend, each sending their finest cadets, born from generations of military tradition. War is an art here, and strategy is considered sacred. Into this bastion of alien intellect and tradition walks a 17-year-old human girl from Earth, Riley Tran, the first of her species to ever be admitted. Her presence is a political experiment. The Galactic Confederation had only recently acknowledged humanity as a sentient, spacefaring race. To show inclusivity and extend cooperation, one human was invited as an exchange cadet. Earth, lacking a true interstellar military command structure, held a global contest to choose their representative. Riley, a quiet teen with an affinity for puzzles, old war documentaries, and competitive gaming, won, largely dismissed by Earth's own bureaucrats as a clever, harmless token. Upon arrival at Zelvarn, she is immediately singled out. To the other cadets, she's a joke. The Karkari, a species evolved from apex insectoid predators, call her the soft one. The Vorn, reptilian tacticians with eidetic memories, dismiss her as prey in uniform. Even her professors question why a human, whose kind has never fought in a space war, deserves to be among them. Riley doesn't react. She observes. The curriculum is intense. Combat simulations, tactical theory, asymmetric warfare, fleet maneuvers, planetary invasions, all simulated through immersive neural-linked battlefields. Most cadets lean heavily on their species' strengths. The Thalren dominate with brute force. The Sonari rely on advanced predictive algorithms. Riley quickly realizes that each race plays war like a formula, precise but predictable. She keeps a low profile, often sitting in the back of the lecture hall sketching patterns in a notebook. She watches simulated fleet battles and notes how every alien species adheres rigidly to their traditional doctrines. While they claim strategic mastery, Riley sees repeating behaviors, glaring weaknesses just waiting to be exploited. She compares their tactics to outdated human war strategies, then compares those to games she played growing up. Her first major challenge comes in the form of a training match. Cadets are divided into teams to run a simulated conflict. Riley is dumped on the least desirable squad, a mix of underperforming students from lower-ranked species. It's considered a mercy match to let stronger teams flex. Riley, expected to merely survive a few rounds, is told to stay out of the way. But as the simulation begins, something strange happens. She starts issuing quiet, calm instructions, not orders, suggestions. They're weird, non-traditional. Use the terrain here. Feint retreat but double back. Let them overextend. Her team, skeptical at first, follows. In less than 10 minutes, the opposing team, a squad stacked with Vorn elites, finds itself surrounded, tricked into a trap of their own making. Riley's team wins, not through strength, through misdirection and unorthodox logic. The observers are stunned. One professor demands to see her neural feed, suspecting cheating. There is none. Riley Tran doesn't gloat. She closes her notebook, nods politely, and walks away, leaving whispers and confusion in her wake. The War College doesn't realize it yet, but something just changed. Humanity, underestimated and mocked, has begun to show what makes them different. They play to win, even when the game is rigged. The atmosphere at the Zelvarn Intergalactic War College shifts subtly after Riley Tran's unexpected victory. Her triumph in the first simulation left the cadets and instructors alike reeling. Was it luck? A fluke? The alien cadets, especially those from the Karkari and Vorn species, begin to question how a human, a species they considered primitive, could possibly outsmart them. Riley, despite the whispers and stares, keeps a calm, unassuming demeanor. She knows they still don't take her seriously, and that, she realizes, is her greatest advantage. The next test at the War College is the simulated Galactic conflict, a large-scale multi-day exercise that pits cadet teams against each other in mock battles for galactic dominance. The stakes are high. Cadets' rankings, reputations, and pride all rest on these games. The teams are intentionally mismatched to test various strategies under duress. Riley's new team is a ragtag collection of lesser-ranked species and overlooked students. They are given the task of defending a strategically crucial system against a massive invading fleet led by a seasoned Karkari captain, a known strategist whose name is whispered with respect throughout the academy. From the outset, Riley's team is written off as fodder. The Karkari captain, known for his brutal efficiency and penchant for direct confrontations, is confident that his fleet will overwhelm her team in record time. The alien cadets openly mock Riley's tactical knowledge, convinced she will collapse under the pressure. But Riley has no intention of playing by their rules. While the Karkari captain begins with a straightforward offensive, an overwhelming show of firepower and sheer aggression, Riley immediately identifies a flaw in the plan. The captain's reliance on sheer strength leaves his fleet vulnerable to sabotage and counterattacks. Riley, ever the student of unorthodox human strategy, recognizes that the enemy's overconfidence is the key to winning. Instead of matching firepower with firepower, Riley chooses a different approach. She orders her team to set up decoy ships, designed to look like larger, more vulnerable fleet assets. These decoys draw the Karkari forces away from the main strategic positions, splitting their forces into multiple smaller engagements. Simultaneously, Riley uses guerrilla tactics, small, fast, and agile ships darting in and out of the enemy's blind spots, sabotaging their supply lines and disrupting communications. As the Karkari fleet gets increasingly frustrated with the elusive tactics, Riley's team sets up traps, employing hit-and-run strikes that cause more damage than expected, targeting weak points in the enemy's infrastructure, not just their ships. The Karkari captain grows visibly annoyed, underestimating Riley's intelligence as just a fluke. He believes that by overwhelming her team with brute strength, he can force them to break. But Riley plays the long game, using his arrogance against him. She manipulates the Karkari fleet into a false sense of security, letting them believe they are winning, all the while wearing down their resources and morale. By the time the Karkari captain realizes he has been outmaneuvered, Riley's team strikes. It's an unexpected, devastating counterattack. The Karkari fleet, now divided and demoralized, collapses in disarray. Riley's team emerges victorious not through strength or direct confrontation, but through psychological warfare and strategic deception, methods that until now the alien cadets had never considered. The alien observers are left speechless. The Karkari captain, defeated and humiliated, is forced to acknowledge Riley's brilliance. As the simulation ends, Riley quietly returns to her team, showing no sign of triumph. Her cadet comrades, who had once doubted her, now look at her with a mixture of awe and respect. They still don't fully understand how she did it, but they know one thing for sure. Riley Tran is no ordinary cadet. For the first time, the War College begins to take notice of humanity's potential, and with it comes a shift in the perception of what it means to be a true strategist. Riley may be an outsider, but her unconventional methods are challenging the very foundation of how war is waged in the galaxy. The War College has been on edge ever since Riley Tran's unexpected victories. Her unconventional methods have left many cadets and instructors scratching their heads, wondering just how far her strategy can go before it runs out of surprises. The galaxy's finest war tacticians have their pride on the line, and they've had enough of being outwitted by a human. To put an end to the growing rumors of her brilliance, the faculty decides to test Riley in the most grueling way possible. They throw her into the Vraxian Trap, a legendary simulation said to be unsolvable. The Vraxian Trap is a designed catastrophe created by the War College's top strategists. The scenario is deceptively simple. Riley's team must defend a strategically vital civilian colony against a Vraxian invasion. But the twist? The colony is completely underprepared. The defenders are outnumbered 10-1. They have minimal resources, no fleet, no reinforcements, and little to no defense infrastructure. The Vraxians, known for their ruthless efficiency and relentless tactics, are a nearly unstoppable force in the galaxy. If anyone can break this simulation, they would be considered the next great tactician an honor that few, if any, have earned. Riley's team is once again expected to fail. The stakes are higher than ever, with cadets from rival species watching closely, eager to see if the humans' luck has finally run out. Even Riley knows the odds are insurmountable. The Vraxians are relentless. Every simulation has shown that the defenders are overrun in mere hours. But Riley isn't one to back down from a challenge, especially not one that seems impossible. The simulation begins. Riley has no illusions about the raw power of the Vraxian forces. But instead of focusing solely on the battle, she immediately starts analyzing the entire situation. It's not just about defense. It's about understanding the enemy's mindset. The Vraxians are methodical. They will break the defenders into pieces, wear them down psychologically, and crush any hope of resistance. So Riley changes the approach. Rather than placing all her resources into a hopeless defense, she begins by taking advantage of the environment. Using the colony's terrain to her advantage, Riley sets up hidden traps, draws the enemy into choke points, and employs stealth tactics to reduce the Vraxian advantage. But it doesn't stop there. She also introduces an element of uncertainty for the Vraxians. She uses psychological warfare. Riley orders her team to leave false communication signals and create decoy resistance forces. By doing this, she casts doubt among the Vraxian commanders about the defenders' true capabilities. She manipulates their perception of strength, making them believe the colony has more advanced weapons or reinforcements on the way. The Vraxians begin to waste resources on false targets, weakening their own forces and causing them to second-guess their strategies. The real turning point comes when Riley makes a bold move. Instead of trying to win outright through military might, she focuses on forcing the Vraxians to exhaust themselves. As they push deeper into the colony, Riley's team targets their logistics, disrupting supply lines and sabotaging their equipment. The Vraxian commanders grow more agitated as they realize their forces are being stretched thin, with fewer supplies and reinforcements than expected. This forces the Vraxians into making hasty decisions that lead to further breakdowns in their coordination. After several tense hours, the simulation reaches its climax. The Vraxians, realizing that their assault is faltering, try to regroup, but it's too late. Riley's strategy has not only stalled the Vraxian assault, it has effectively made them retreat. The defenders haven't won in the traditional sense. They've outlasted the enemy. The simulation is halted, and the War College's commanding officers stare in disbelief. Riley's unorthodox tactics, leveraging misinformation, guerrilla tactics, and psychological manipulation, have turned a completely unwinnable scenario into a victory of endurance. The faculty is speechless. No one has ever come close to breaking the Vraxian trap, let alone winning it. For the first time, Riley Tran's name is whispered with a newfound respect. While the alien cadets, particularly the Vorn and Karkari, continue to grapple with the unexpected outcome, Riley simply closes her eyes, quietly reflecting. Her strategy was never about outgunning the enemy. It was about outthinking them. And with that, the War College begins to realize humanity might just be the galaxy's most dangerous new asset. The victory over the Vraxian trap has shaken the foundations of the Zelvarn Intergalactic War College. For centuries, the Academy's core philosophy has been based on overwhelming force, raw strategy, and the belief that certain species, those with superior intellect, military prowess, or sheer combat ability, are the future of galactic warfare. But Riley Tran, a human cadet with no formal military background, has proven that these age-old principles can be subverted with unorthodox thinking, psychological manipulation, and strategic patience. The very concept of warfare is being questioned, and it all centers on Riley. As the simulation ends, the War College's senior council calls for a special debriefing. Riley is summoned to stand before them, not as a student, but as someone who has defied everything they thought they knew about war. The senior members of the War College are some of the most esteemed tacticians in the galaxy, and they are perplexed by what they've witnessed. No one, not even the most accomplished species, has ever broken the Vraxian trap or turned the tide of an unwinnable battle in such a manner. The council, which includes a variety of species, each with their own strengths and limitations, seems divided on how to handle Riley's unprecedented success. Some argue that she represents a fluke, a one-time anomaly that shouldn't be celebrated, while others are forced to acknowledge the undeniable truth. Riley has outsmarted them all. The Mai alien tacticians are now looking at humanity in a new light. Her victory is not just a result of human adaptability or creativity, it's something deeper. It's an understanding of how to manipulate the psychological dynamics of war, how to turn a losing situation into a war of attrition that forces an enemy to exhaust themselves. This is something none of the other species have managed to grasp. Most have relied on sheer power or advanced technologies, forgetting that war is as much about mind games as it is about firepower. Riley sits before the council with quiet confidence, but she knows the scrutiny is only beginning. Her unconventional approach to war has turned her into a symbol of something new, a challenge to the status quo. The council debates whether she should be expelled for breaking the unwritten rules of warfare, or whether humanity's unique way of thinking could be integrated into galactic military doctrine. Unexpectedly, the discussion turns in her favor. The Vraxian general, who had once led the invasion in the simulation and felt the sting of defeat, speaks up. Instead of condemning Riley, he praises her. "You have done what many of us never thought possible," he admits. "You have proven that intelligence, not just strength, is the true key to victory." This moment of acknowledgement from such a prestigious figure is a turning point for Riley. It signals a shift in the War College's attitude toward her, and by extension, humanity. Riley, in turn, offers a bold proposal. Rather than focusing on brute force or conventional military tactics, she suggests the War College initiate a new interspecies exchange program, one that encourages the development of unconventional strategies, creative thinking, and mental agility. This new program, she argues, could draw on the strengths of each species while incorporating human ingenuity. "We may not be the strongest or the smartest, but we can outthink any opponent," Riley states. Her proposal is met with mixed reactions, but ultimately, it sparks a paradigm shift. Humanity's value is no longer just as a new participant in galactic politics, but as a species capable of fundamentally changing the way war is understood and fought. Her challenge to the War College's age-old doctrines is a triumph in itself. Riley is offered a position to help design new tactical doctrines and training regimens for future cadets, blending the best of all species' strengths with the unique insights humanity has brought. As the story closes, the War College begins to implement Riley's ideas. The notion that human creativity and adaptability can reshape military thought becomes an emerging truth. The galaxy, once so sure of its superiority, now recognizes humanity not as weak, but as an unpredictable strategic force capable of reshaping the future of warfare. For Riley, this isn't just a personal victory. It's the dawn of a new era for humanity in the galactic stage. The lesson is clear. It's not about how strong you are. It's about how you play the game.